time do not come from African sources, as Dr. Tula Simpson explains.
The sources were from European traders and European missionaries writing their accounts and translating Zulu folklore about the great King Shaka and his achievements and his military prowess. And those are the sources that have been transmitted to us as far as that is concerned.
So in your view, are they slanted?
I do think that they're definitely slanted, and the ways in which it has been slanted to justify European colonialism.
So the depictions we have of this rather cruel figure, in your view, isn't necessarily supported by African sources?
That's correct.
In 1836, one British adventurer, Nathaniel Isaacs, wrote to a fellow author advising him to smear Shaka and his successors. Make them out to be as bloodthirsty as you can, he urged. Shaka developed a centralized kingship, quashing internal opposition and launching a military campaign against rival communities in what was known as the Mfakane, or the crushing.
It's the name given for a series of wars, and the status of that period in history is contested amongst historians at the moment because it creates a very convenient myth from the colonial point of view, which is the idea that black-on-black conflict created a depopulated interior in which whites could move into empty land.
But the Mfakane really did lead to a scattering of many, and they left the territories that they had lived in for many, many centuries.
But in a sense, this is a continuation of a pattern that's been continuing for a number of centuries.
Zulu traditions have endured for hundreds of years, and today the Zulus are renowned for their distinctive dance and militaristic style. I arranged to meet a Zulu prince, Mangosuthu Buthelezi. As leader of the Inkatha Freedom Party, he was known as Chief Buthelezi and was a pivotal figure in South African politics before and after apartheid. King Shaka was his great-great-great-uncle on his mother's side, Princess Mgogo. As a graduate of history, Chief Mangosuthu likes to relate his family story.
King Shaka actually is, I would almost say that he is revered by the Zulu people as the founding father of the Zulu nation, and as someone who made us who we are, the Zulu people.
King Shaka introduced the notion of celibacy amongst his soldiers. They were kept in barracks and were expected to remain chaste for as long as 10 years.
Yes.
That was quite a remarkable thing to introduce.
But I suppose acceptable for them for those times. You see, because we look at it through our modern eyes, and at that time, the people accepted it, and he accepted it.
Oh, was King Shaka celibate?
He was a celibate, yes.
Chief Mangosuthu Buthelezi tells me King Shaka is credited with inventing the short spear, which was much more effective as a fighting tool than the long one.
People used to throw spears at each other. That was how warfare took place during the time. And then he came up with a short spear, meaning that you must confront, your enemy, face to face, and fight.
And Shaka also devised the bullhorn fighting formation, which the chief describes.
Some army people went this way, and others on the other side to make a settle, to finish off the...
To converge,
yes.
So there would be no means of escape.
Yes, they would either led by generals this side and some on the other side, until they completely unsettle the enemy or target.
I'm here in Kwaduguza, about 70 kilometers north of Durban, and this is where Shaka established his capital. Kwaduguza in the Zulu language means place of the lost person. In the end, it was not on the battlefield that King Shaka met his death. On September the 24th, 1828, Shaka was sitting on this rock awaiting visitors. Two of his half-brothers, Dingane and Mhlangana, along with Shaka's servant, Mbopa, approached him carrying spears. According to one historical account, one of the brothers, aiming for Shaka's heart, instead hit him in the arm. Shaka got up, tried to walk away, but they stabbed him repeatedly in the back until they killed him. However, according to Zulu tradition, Shaka did not try to resist his attackers. Shaka's body was then wrapped in the skin of a black ox and buried. And years later, his body was moved to this site behind me. And this marble monument is a legacy to Shaka, who epitomizes the African fighter, a symbol of courage and military prowess that brought Shaka fame that spread far and wide.
We still mourn him because we think that with the kind of mind and genius that he was, we say that he would have taken Zulu people even further than he succeeded in uniting them. And therefore, although King Dingane was given the same respect as a king, but there's always a feeling that, you know, what he did was actually disloyal and actually that it was wrong to end the life of such a genius at the prime of life.
So even in death, you think he was brave? He didn't resist? He didn't try to run away?
No, he didn't run away, no. In fact, he prophesied then, even if you kill me, you'll not rule. He predicted the coming of whites into the kingdom and taking over the whites.
One big impact of Shaka's reign is that the Mfecane, or crushing, helped mould the map of southern Africa as it is today. After the Mfecane, various chiefs fled elsewhere and established new kingdoms, such as in modern-day Lesotho and Mozambique. In part of what became Zimbabwe, one chief founded the Ndebele Kingdom in Matabeleland. Bulawayo is its main town, and this is where I meet Patisa Nyasi, a cultural expert who tells me about this king, Mzilikazi.
King Mzilikazi, as some people will say, was probably the second greatest fighter and leader after King Shaka. He defied King Shaka. He refused to fall under King Shaka. He said, I will create my own nation.
There's a direct descendant of King Mzilikazi whom Patisa wants me to meet. She's a teacher and storyteller, Musa Dungeni.
Mzilikazi was a very clever king. I would say he was a unifier. He was very kind. However, the stories that actually say something about him usually would be told by my own parents. Now that I'm also a grandmother, I do tell stories.
Give us one.
I'll tell you a story about a mamba, a big snake, and Igwangu. Duangu is a?
Is a baboon.
Is a baboon. Where
Musa Dungeni tells us a long story about an encounter between these three animals. She says the fable illustrates how King Mzilikazi set an example of how a leader should behave.
he should be able to honor his word. He is always the clever one who solves things.
These are people that you want to emulate, legendary figures, so that the young, growing children are learning values from such people. Selfless, dedicated, brave people were able to build a nation like King Mzilikazi.
Mzilikazi and Shaka are amongst the most iconic of southern African rulers. After the break, we see how Shaka's